Anyone who's been following this story even a little bit knows I was one of the biggest skeptics when the idea of Aaron Rodgers coming to Pittsburgh first started gaining traction. I wasn't subtle about it, and honestly, I had reasons. Solid reasons. I brought them up repeatedly throughout the offseason, and now, with camp fully underway, I think it's the right time to revisit those concerns, but with new context. And since I'm a sucker for rhythm and language, I've always been fond of alliteration. So, here are the 3 big flags I raised back then, now wrapped in a more updated package: priority, personality, and performance. Let's kick it off with the first, priority. That question loomed large for months. Why would Aaron Rodgers, a guy with a Hall of Fame career already locked in, a Super Bowl ring, for MVP trophies, and more celebrity status than most quarterbacks ever dream of, suddenly choose to step into a brand new situation, especially this one? What's driving that decision at this point in his life? Let's not forget, this is someone who's done it all. He didn't just win in Green Bay, he became a legend there. He hosted Jeopardy, for crying out loud. So the obvious concern was, is this just a late career vanity stop, a paycheck, a soft landing, or is he really here to fight, to win, to lead? And sure, we'll never really know what's going on in someone's head, but that's where actions, body language, tone, those subtle things can start to paint a clearer picture. Spending time at training camp and just observing Rodgers has offered a different view. The guy's not phoning it in, he's locked in. And not just in that performative way you sometimes see with veterans trying to show they care. No, I'm talking about actual, tangible moments where you see the investment, like when a handoff during drills didn't go the way he wanted, and he ripped off that chin strap with visible frustration. That wasn't for show. That was a moment of raw emotion, the kind that says, this matters to me. It's easy to shrug something like that off. Oh, he's just being dramatic. But if you've been watching him, really watching him, you start to pick up on patterns. This is a guy who's actively engaged. When he's coaching up a younger player, whether it's a rookie offensive lineman or one of the tight ends, you can see that there's thought behind every word. Sometimes it's calm guidance, sometimes it's direct criticism, but either way, he's involved. And not just in his own performance, but in making sure others around him are rising to the challenge too. You don't do that unless you're truly locked in, which brings me to the second concern, personality. You know what I'm talking about. The Aaron Rodgers mystique, the whole package, the conspiracy quotes, the passive-aggressive interviews, the sense that this is a guy who often sees himself as the smartest person in the room and maybe likes it that way. So the question was obvious. How would that personality fit inside the Steelers culture? How would it sit in a locker room built on toughness, humility, and blue-collar grit? Would Rodgers come in and act like a superstar who's above it all? Would he isolate himself, stay in his own lane, and leave the rest of the team to figure it out? But here's the twist. So far, that hasn't happened. Not even close. In fact, he's been the opposite. He's got a roommate at camp, something you don't exactly expect from a future Hall of Famer, and not just any roommate, but someone he's already built a real bond with. The two of them joking around about sharing a bathroom, and middle-of-the-night bathroom etiquette. That's not diva behavior. That's not someone demanding private suites and special privileges. That's someone leaning into the experience, not running from it. I talked to a couple of players about it, and the message was consistent. Rodgers doesn't carry himself like an A-list celebrity, even though that's exactly what he is. He's approachable, he's available, and most importantly, he's curious. He asks questions, even to guys like Mason Rudolph, who's been around this team forever. Rodgers knows Mason has knowledge of the system, of the coaches, of the city. So instead of pretending he knows everything, he listens. And that's probably the most surprising and most encouraging thing I've seen so far. He's not walking in the room demanding people bow to his experience. He's adding to conversations, not dominating them. And when he's talking to someone like Will Howard, the rookie in the quarterback room, he's adapting his tone. He's not giving them the same speech he'd give a veteran. He's mentoring. Yes, but without the condescension. He's been open, he's been engaged, and above all, he's been generous with knowledge, with time, and with energy. That's not the Aaron Rodgers I expected to see in La Trobe. Now look, we're only a week into camp. Things are still new. Emotions haven't frayed yet. The season hasn't started. So yeah, this could change. But if you're looking for signs that this is more than just a farewell tour, that he's not just showing up, collecting checks, and soaking in applause, so far, he's passing the test. And finally, the third one, performance. This is where most of us are trained to look first. But in this case, it was the last box I needed to check. Because everything else, attitude, intentions, effort, only means so much if you can't actually play. And let's not sugarcoat it, Rodgers isn't in his 20s anymore. His legs don't move the way they used to. He's not extending plays like he once could. That escapability, that off-script magic, it's not entirely gone. But it's different now, so the question becomes, is the arm still there? Is the accuracy still elite? Is the processing still razor sharp? Based on what we've seen so far, the answer is, yeah, it is. The zip is still there, the arm angles, the release mechanics, the ability to fit balls into tight windows, it's all very much alive. He's not just hitting guys, he's hitting them in stride, at the right moment, in the right place. That matters. That sets a tone. That changes expectations. Because now, if you're a wide receiver or a tight end, you know the ball is going where it's supposed to go. If the play breaks down, it's not on him, it's on you. That kind of accountability is contagious. It creates a culture. It changes how players approach each route, each rep, each detail. And this is crucial, especially after what we've seen over the past few seasons. There have been way too many moments where the timing between quarterback and receiver just wasn't there. Too many broken plays that didn't have to be broken. Too many was that on the QB or the WR moments. With Rodgers, that margin for error shrinks, and that's a good thing. Because it forces everyone to sharpen up. And it signals to the entire offense that precision matters again. Look, nobody's saying he's going to be the MVP again. That's not the bar, but if he can be efficient, accurate, and smart with the football, that alone could elevate this offense in ways we haven't seen in years. We've already watched him hit throws that make you say, yup, that's still Aaron Rodgers, the kind of throws that don't just move chains but shift momentum. And again, this is before the pads even came on. So yeah, it's early, way early, but if you had told me 2 months ago that I'd be here talking about Rodgers as a legitimate difference maker, not just in terms of on-field production, but as a cultural force in that locker room, I would have laughed. But right now, that laugh's a little quieter, because if what we're seeing continues to build, if this really is the version of Rodgers the Steelers are getting, then maybe, just maybe, the gamble is starting to look a little smarter than we gave it credit for. And all of this has come without a single regular season snap. No stats, no touchdowns, no wins or losses, just training camp, just drills. But sometimes that's where the truth starts to reveal itself, not in the highlights, but in the little stuff, in the way a guy talks, in the way he responds to a mistake, in the way he connects with teammates, old and young. That's what's happening here. And it's why my perspective, while not completely flipped, is definitely shifting. Because this doesn't feel like a stopgap, this feels like a statement. And we're just getting started. Now, with all that said about Rodgers and the good signs so far, there's still a long road ahead. 1 week of camp is just that 1 week. Nobody's winning a championship in July. But when you're trying to understand whether a move like this can actually work, not just functionally, but holistically, you have to pay attention to the early energy, to the tone being set. And right now, that tone feels focused, urgent, and even, dare I say it, inspired. We've already touched on Rodgers' throwing mechanics. But what really stands out is the precision under pressure, even if it's only practice. It's the little things, the footwork, the ball placement, the way he leads receivers into open space rather than just throwing to a spot. You can see it in the faces of the guys catching those passes. They're starting to trust what's coming, and more importantly, they're adjusting to it. Because Rodgers doesn't throw lazy balls. There's no just get it there toss. Every throw has intention, every rep has a purpose. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could become one of the most talked about stories of the offseason, whispers around the league suggest that star defensive back Ramsey has privately, and now, perhaps not so privately, made it clear that he has no intention of playing alongside wide receiver DK Metcalf, should both end up at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The rumor mill exploded after comments allegedly made by Ramsey surfaced, in which he reportedly said, "I'm not stepping on that field if he's there." While no official statements have been released, the notion that Ramsey would be unwilling to share a locker room with Metcalf is gaining traction fast among insiders. This unexpected twist adds an extra layer of intrigue to the Steelers' offseason. maneuverings, with the team reportedly exploring big-name acquisitions on both sides of the ball. Fans had begun to dream of a star-studded lineup featuring the physicality of Metcalf and the swagger of Ramsey. But now, that dream may be on hold or dead altogether. Neither player has confirmed nor denied the rumors publicly, but sources close to the situation describe a frosty history between the two that dates back to their fierce on-field clashes and off-field jabs in past seasons. Some insiders suggest the animosity might stem from a personal incident, while others believe it's simply a matter of clashing egos to alphas who refuse to share the same turf. Steelers management has yet to comment on the possibility of either acquisition, let alone on the growing speculation of internal conflict. But if there's truth to this rift, it could seriously complicate Pittsburgh's roster plans. Could Ramsey be drawing a line in the sand, or is this all smoke without fire? For now, fans are left guessing. Is this a power play, a genuine feud, or just off-season noise? One thing is certain, in Pittsburgh, the silence has been broken and it's getting loud. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.